especially if I were to show you guys the pictures that were involved of Annalise Michael. If Since I'm not going to do that because I don't want to disrespect families or anything that are still living, go on your phone, Google her name. It's Annalise Michael, and you will find those photos. Okay, her name is Annalise. It's Anneliese Michael. I might be there. She's German, so I might be enunciating it wrong. It might be Michael, but it's Michel. All right. So Annalise Michael's fate is much worse than that of Roland Doe. Annalise Michael died at 23 years old on July 1st, 1976. She endured a staggering 67 exorcisms, but in her case, divine intervention did not save her life. We are now talking the exorcism of Emily Rose. Okay? And this is extremely disturbing, this case. So, anyway, so the question remains here. Wild mass hysteria was certainly at work here. Was Annalise truly possessed by the devil, or was this simply a very sick young woman? Let's get into it here. The official cause of death on Annalise's death certificate is emaciation, malnourishment, and starvation. But were these things what truly killed her, or was it a demonic force? Or was it the negligence of a couple of priests and her parents? Alright, so Annalise Michael was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy when she was 16, after she had her first seizure. In June 1970, she had been staying at a psychiatric hospital where she had a third and violent seizure. She was prescribed Dilantin. Okay? All my nurse friends out there, comment on this case. Explain to me what Dilantin is and what it does. Let's get into a conversation because I have my own theories. Anyways, the Dilantin did not alleviate her problems. She began to see devil faces. By 1973, she suffered from depression and began hallucinating and hearing voices telling her that she was damned and that she would rot in hell. Annalise's treatment in the psychiatric hospital did not improve her health, and her depression deteriorated. For 5 long years, she took the drugs, but nothing seemed to improve. Okay, her health and her depression worsened. In fact, she became intolerant of religious places and objects. Annalise, her family, and her community became convinced that she was in fact possessed by the devil. They all began consulting priests and asking the Catholic Church for an exorcism, but they all declined. Her condition worsened physically. She displayed aggression, she hurt herself, she drank her own urine, and she ate insects. Okay, real quick before I go on, another thing about her pictures for the people that aren't going to look them up. This girl was a very beautiful girl at the time that this all was going on. I mean, when this first began, she was very pretty. And as this all went on, there's a series of pictures that you can find. It's kind of like when you go into a photo booth and it shows different poses, all in succession. It's kind of like that, but it goes lateral or horizontal or however you want to say it. But anyways, it shows her as her high school photo, and it shows her as she evolves and progresses through her exorcisms and ultimately into her death. And by the time she dies, I mean, she literally looks like she herself is possessed, or she is the devil, or she is death. I mean, it's horrific. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's pretty scary. There's some pretty gnarly pictures. Anyways, in November 1973, she began treatment with Tegretol. Alright, I myself have taken Tegretol. Okay, it's an anti-seizure drug, and it's also a mood stabilizer. Okay, I have some mental health issues myself, and I also have seizures. Okay, I go through petit mal seizures on a daily basis, every day of my life. And for those who don't know, basically petit mal seizures are where you basically just blank out. Like, I want to say zone out, but I don't want to downplay it. It's like you blank out. Like, you don't know who the fuck you are, or where the fuck you're at, and what the fuck is going on. But in some cases, you might lose motor function and things like that. I've fallen a few times, cracked my fucking head on shit. Or, or scuffed up my arm or something like that. Nothing major, okay? Now, Tegretol, okay, which is an anti-seizure drug, okay, and it's also a mood stabilizer, as I stated. Um, it's some gnarly shit. Okay, they prescribed that shit to me one time, and it almost killed me. Like I'm apparently allergic to the shit. It swelled my throat shut, and I got blisters and lesions all over my fucking body from that shit. So I must have had like a severe allergic reaction to this shit. I had to go to the emergency room, and they had to give me shots and fucking ram a tube down my throat for air, and it was a bad deal, dude. So, anyways, I know for a fact, my own personal experience, that shit ain't no joke. She was prescribed this drug along with the Dilantin, and she was also prescribed antipsychotic drugs. And it doesn't state what antipsychotic drugs we're talking about, or anything, but it does say that she's prescribed others antipsychotics. Okay. Michael's symptoms still worsened, and she began to manifest growls, see demons, and throw things. Okay. The priest, Ernst Alt, whom on seeing her declared that she didn't look like an epileptic. What a fucking shit thing to say to somebody. Like, how the fuck are you gonna walk up to somebody and say, man, you don't look like an epileptic? You wouldn't fucking know the difference. They look like everybody else. People don't know that I'm not epileptic, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I could say, like, man, you wouldn't know that I had seizures unless I fucking told you. So it's kind of a shit thing for this fucking priest to say. Anyways, he said he did not see her having seizures, but was in fact suffering from a demonic possession. Alt urged the local bishop to authorize an exorcism. On September 24th, 1975, Bishop Joseph Stangl granted the priest Arnold Renz permission to exorcise. Annalise began refusing to eat. Her parents stopped consulting the doctors on her request and relied solely on the exorcism rites. 67 exorcism sessions. That's 1 or 2 each week, lasting up to 4 hours. They were performed over about 10 months in 1975. So for 4 hours a day, probably twice a day, these 2 priests were coming into her room, or her chambers, or whatever you want to call it, and performing exorcisms on her that lasted 4 hours apiece. And that went on for 10 months. Okay. I'm pretty much going to say I'm not trying to downplay the power of God or piss off anybody or smite your religion beliefs or anything. But I'm just trying to say, if these 2 dudes are legit priests and they come into this fucking lady's room and they do 67 motherfucking exorcisms at 4 hours apiece, twice a fucking week for 10 fucking months and ain't shit happened, they either are horrible fucking priests, God didn't like this girl, or this was a super powerful fucking entity. Or she just wasn't fucking sick. Like, demonically sick. She was more epileptic sick. Which is probably more my take in her case. Anyway, basically... Okay, so she died in 1976, at which time she weighed 68 pounds. She suffered from broken knees due to continuous genuflections. Okay? She was unable to move without assistance, and she had pneumonia. After an investigation, the state charged Michael's parents and the priest, Ernst Alt and Arnold Renz, with negligent homicide. All parties were found guilty of manslaughter. This shit is a fucking kick to the teeth. All parties were found guilty of manslaughter, and they were sentenced, are you ready for this? Sentenced to 6 months in jail and 3 years probation. These 4 sons of bitches basically get charged with negligent homicide, okay, and are found guilty of manslaughter, and they get fucking 6 months in fucking jail? What the fuck? Like, really? Now, before I get too fucking crazy in this whole matter, my theory is that Annalise wasn't possessed, but she was in fact a very sick, epileptic girl. And she just wasn't finding, the doctors at the time either just did not have the knowledge of epilepsy to combat the disease or to control it. Or they were morons, quack doctors that were just fucking feeding her full of drugs so they could make some money off her folks by keeping her locked up in a psych ward. Or maybe she was truly demonically possessed and the devil won this time. But I like to think of it as that she was just very sick and the medicine at the time just wasn't getting it done. Alright. Anyway, so was Annalise possessed? Is that what psychiatric treatment and drugs seem to have? Is that why? God damn, I can't read today. Is that why psychiatric treatment and drugs had no effect? Because she was actually possessed? I'm not offering these cases to convince you of the existence of demons or to advocate for the use of exorcisms over medical treatment or vice versa. I'm simply telling you the horrifying true stories of 3 individuals that what you decide is up to you. Perhaps Roland Doe is nothing more than some bratty kid acting out. Maybe Annalise was just a sick girl who died tragically from starving herself. But what if they were actually demonic entities that were possessing them? I also want to note here, okay, this is fucked up, okay? And unfortunately, my phone is the camera, so I can't show you. And I didn't do the slides, so I can't show you. But anybody that I work with or that I know personally, next time you see me, if you want to see this, I still have it saved on my phone, and I'll show you. I also want to note here that when I typed this out on my computer and I did a live read back, like a mock-up to myself, and I read it out loud, and I timed everything to make sure that I would have enough source material to cover the show's time slot. I discovered that at this point in the script, when I stopped reading, my stopwatch read 15, 15, 15. If 1 plus 5 is 6, 1 plus 5 is 6, and 1 plus 5 is 6, it equals 666. That's a creepy notion. Is it some strange coincidence? I don't know. You tell me. Let's continue on to study yet another famous possession case that was also made into a movie. It hit headlines around the nation. Alright. And this case is the case. Annalise had a very strong sway in whether or not I'd show the photos this time. This case here, I had crime scene photos of what I'm about to talk about, and they're very gruesome in nature. And some of them depicted children that were killed. And I do have a friend that I know for a fact is going to be watching this, and I don't want to offend the guy or bring up bad shit for the guy. So I had ultimately decided to not show these photos. Plus, like I said, I'm trying to show respect for the deceased's family. I just felt it was inappropriate at this point to show these photos. But anyways, let's get to this. 30 miles outside of New York City, nestled in the Long Island town of Amityville, at 112 Ocean Avenue stands a house forever linked to what has become infamously known as the Amityville Horror. One of my favorite cases. On November 13th, 1974, the estate was the scene of a horrific mass murder. At 3:15 a.m., using a .35 caliber lever action Marlin 336C rifle, 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered his entire family while they were sleeping. Although physical evidence suggests Louise, the mother, and Allison, one of the sisters, were awake at the time of their deaths. This included DeFeo Jr.'s father, 43-year-old Ronald DeFeo Sr., his mother, 42-year-old Louise, his 4 siblings, 18-year-old Don, 13-year-old Allison, and 12-year-old Mark, and 9-year-old John Matthew. All 6 family members were found by police lying in their respective beds with their faces down into their pillows and their hands raised above their heads. The parents were shot twice, each in the back at point blank. The 2 girls were shot once each in the back of the head at point blank, and the 2 boys were shot once each in the back at point blank. DeFeo Jr. told police, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop." It is bizarre that they were all in the exact same position, the pathologist said. How is it that DeFeo Jr. was able to shoot and kill all 6 of his family members in their sleep with none of the multiple shots being fired awakening any of the other family members or alerting any of the neighbors? Okay, as a former USMC sniper, I can tell you this rifle is very loud and a silencer cannot be attached to this type of weapon. And the powder burns on the victims indicates that a pillow was not used to muffle the sound or hamper muzzle flash whatsoever. This rifle is extremely loud. DeFeo's trial began on October 14th in 1975. He and his defense lawyer, William Weber, mounted an affirmative action defense of insanity, with DeFeo claiming that he killed his family in self-defense because he heard voices. He had claimed that demonic forces compelled him to murder his family. It has been demonstrated in other possession cases that if, in fact, possession is real, that the demonic entities could influence someone to harm themselves, as in the case of Annalise Michael, or harm others, as in the case of Roland Doe. But did the devil really make DeFeo Jr. and the others commit these violent acts? DeFeo was a known drug addict, and in fact was on narcotics probation at the time of the murders. However, drugs were not detected in his system at the time of the killings. I think it's probably safe to say that he was most likely not high when he killed his family. Okay, and let me note here, okay, he was a heroin addict. Okay, for 12 years, I also was a heroin addict. I know the effects of heroin very well. And I'm telling you, if he was high on heroin, I mean, like really high on heroin, he ain't committing no murders. He's fucking sleeping. You know, he's feeling euphoric. He's not wanting to do that. So, I mean, I guess it affects different people different ways, but in my particular, based on my experiences, it didn't make me want to kill people. It made me want to fucking sleep and, you know, chill and be happy and be mellow. Not a fucking maniac. Anyway, so I don't believe that it was drugs. I don't think he got high and said, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna kill my family because I'm fucking stoned." I don't think that was the case. I think he just fucking flipped his shit. Anyways, I think it's probably safe to say that he was most likely not high when he killed his family. Drugs did not compel DeFeo to have a lapse of momentary judgment. Despite the insanity plea, evidence suggests that mental illness was not the compelling force either. He did have an antisocial personality disorder, but so do I, and so do a lot of other people. Okay? And it doesn't necessarily mean you're a killer. Okay, in my opinion, it doesn't seem to have sway here. The prosecution stated that the evidence showed that DeFeo Jr. was not insane and was very aware of his actions at the time of the murders. So if drugs and insanity did not compel DeFeo to kill his family, then what did? Investigators established that a possible motive for the murders was that Ronald was the beneficiary of a $200,000 life insurance policy. But I have an issue with that as well. If DeFeo did it for the money, why would he have confessed or acted so carelessly at the time of the murders? Typically, if you're doing it for the money, the goal would be to not only kill the family, but to ensure you didn't get fucking caught. Getting caught or confessing to the murders, as DeFeo did, would ensure that you never fucking saw a dime of that money. So I think this falls by the wayside as well. DeFeo Jr. was sentenced to 6 consecutive 25 to life sentences, so this motherfucker ain't ever getting out. DeFeo's story has changed 10 times over the last several years since his incarceration. Funny, there's both the number 10, Legion, and the number 6, which is prevalent in 666, Mark of the Beast, and they both appear here. Maybe it's purely coincidental, but I just thought it was worth pointing out. It is debatable as to whether DeFeo Jr. was actually possessed, or if he was just some psycho ready to pop, but I would like to point out a few more strange points. 8 shots were fired that night. The rifle only had a magazine capacity of 6 rounds, so DeFeo would have had to fire the first 6 rounds and then reload at least 2 more rounds into the rifle. In my experience with the demonically possessed, I don't believe that someone possessed by the diabolical would waste the time to reload. Typically, someone demonically possessed would most likely fire the first 6 shots and then turn the rifle around and use the butt of the weapon as a club and just bludgeon the last 2 victims to death. But that's just my opinion, and it's purely speculative. Each slain family member was found by police laying in bed, on their stomachs, in very large pools of blood. How many people do you know all sleep in the exact same position at the exact same time of night? How do you account for this? DeFeo did claim at one point to have drugged his family with barbiturates, but his mother and sister were still awake at the time of their deaths, but neither reacted to any of the shots fired. Why? Were they that doped up on the barbiturates that they couldn't respond? I couldn't verify if the autopsy for sure turned up drugs in the family system, so this remains an unknown for us and a possible explanation. But also, couldn't demonic forces have held the family members in place while also possessing DeFeo as he committed the murders? 1 year after the gruesome DeFeo murders, the Lutz family moved into the house at 112 Ocean Avenue. According to the Lutzes, it was their dream house. And strangely, 28 days later, the Lutzes abandoned the house that held a now famous press conference in which they claim demonic entities forced them from their dream home. Amid all the claims of demonic activity in the house by DeFeo Jr. and the Letts family, there's a couple more points I need to make here. Mr. Letts claimed to have visions or nightmares every night at exactly 3:15 a.m., the precise time of the DeFeo murders. The visions were originally of Ronnie DeFeo being tempted and compelled by these demonic entities in a small red room inside the house. The red room does exist in the house, and Mr. Letts' visions then became of himself acting as Ronnie DeFeo Jr. and shooting each of his family members in their sleep. Also, one of Letts' sons claimed to have been possessed and made contact with the same demonic entities that possessed DeFeo Jr. There's a lot more to the claims of the Lettses than I'm providing here. Ed and Lorraine Warren were also involved, but for the purpose of demonic possession and these conversations, these occurrences are not necessarily relevant at this time. I will go further into the hauntings reported by the Lettses at the family at the Amityville house on 112 Ocean Avenue on another time when we talk about hauntings. Right now we're talking about demonic possession. So in conclusion, did demonic entities have a role to play in some one or all three of these cases? Is demonic possession a real occurrence, or is this all associated with some mass hysteria? My insights in these cases is not to sway you to one conclusion or another, but to simply point out suggestive themes that perhaps the devil did make them do it. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, follow, and share. Join me next time on Awakenings when we will discuss the abduction cases of Travis Walton and Whitley Stryver. Before we log out here, I just want to say what's coming up next is going to be truly fantastic. I do want to say these first two episodes are my trial and error shows. These shows are me just trying some things out. As you notice, I got some strobe light going on here. I'm not real sure how it looks in the frame. I might have to refilm this whole show without the light. It's getting dark out. I don't know how well you guys can see. Hopefully it looks cool. I was trying to go for a creepy effect. But anyway, these two shows were just kind of like trial shows to see how things were going to be. Now we're going to get into the big time. Now we're going to get into the real serious shit. And we're going to get into my forte, which is alien phenomenon, UFOs, and alien abduction. And it's going to get real fast. So there's a lot of material to cover. So I've decided that episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6, that's 4 episodes. The next 4 are going to probably be a series based on aliens and UFOs. And then after that, I'm going to do another special. I'm kind of hoping, I'm still working my time frame a little bit, I'm kind of hoping to finish that up and then do a very large case that's going to be a big surprise, that's something completely different than anything that we've talked about so far, but it will be truly fascinating as well. These episodes are going to get better and better in nature. I'm just trying out different fucking things and seeing what's what. I am eventually going to be taking this show on the road. I'm just waiting for it to warm up a little bit more, you know, like I don't want to freeze my fucking ass off. But as soon as this warms up a little bit more, we have a little clearer nights and not rain and not cold, I will start going to haunted locations around the area, filming there, talking about the place, and then talking about the cases that are relevant to the place. And it'll start getting better. Hopefully some people will start commenting and hitting me up. We're needing some live investigations done at their house or their business, and we can get that done. Again, I'm still looking for a paranormal crew. I have a couple of people in mind that want to jump on the bandwagon with me, but I still have room for more. There's always room for more at the table. So come on, you know, give me a shout out and let me know you want to be a paranormal investigator, and we'll get this rolling. You have to be available to work on weekends because all the paranormal investigations and the show will be done on the weekends. From now on, this show will be on Saturdays, and it's my work schedule. It will be on Saturdays. Technically, I should actually have an episode tomorrow, but since I'm doing this episode tonight, I've decided to forego that. So my next episode will air March 29th, but I do have an episode coming out on March 17th, which is St. Patty's Day. I will be doing a St. Patty's Day special on March 17th based on the Leprechaun of Ireland. And I don't mean the little fucker on the fucking Lucky Charms box. I mean the leprechaun, like the real leprechaun. The evil little bastard that fucking wants to steal your shoes and club you to death and, you know, you not to have his goal. Anyway, so that will be coming up on March 17th. March 29th, we will be launching the Alien Abduction series, or the UFO series, whatever I end up calling it. It will be all true stories. I will have a lot of information for you guys. It'll get a lot better. I have way more experience as a ufologist than I do anything else. So yeah, it's going to be real. So I look forward to those. I will be posting stuff. I'm going to start getting a little more active on my Facebook page, on the Awakenings page there, and posting some things. Not all the show is going to be the show. Some of the stuff is going to be the posts that I post. So watch out for those. I'm still working on getting merch. I'm also looking for a co-host. I kind of would prefer the person to be as knowledgeable or close as possible in the knowledge of this stuff as I am. You don't have to necessarily agree with me, but you know, that would be good for debates and things. I kind of like my co-host to be a female, simply because we need some eye candy on this show. I'm sure people are sick of looking at my face. So, you know, I would like to get a nice, good-looking female to do the show with, just for eye candy purposes. I don't mean that to be a sexist thing, but I kind of do. Anyways, you know, and that's what I'm looking forward to. You know, you got to have your Fox Mulder and your Scully. And that's what I'm wanting to do on this show, is me more of on the side of the supernatural, and I'd kind of like to have a female co-host that's more of a Scully, that's more based in science and realism than me. And then we can have some good debates, and we can do some investigations and things and see where it goes. You know, maybe I'll make her a believer. Maybe she'll make me a non-believer. I doubt it, but we'll see. Like I said, we're still working on, I think I said this already, but I'm working on getting some merch. I'm not sure what I want to do with the merch thing. I think I'm going to try to do, not to copy, bitch, or boast, but I think I want to do shirts, because it's just a little easier to do, and I met a guy that does shirts, so I think I might look into that a little further. I'm super ecstatic about Halloween time, because I'm going to be going, you know, fucking full balls in on fucking Halloween and just lighting it up on Halloween and burning it down. I got all kinds of shit planned for Halloween, and it's going to be big, 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 big. That's several months away, but yeah, shit's going to get real, and it's going to just start climbing. At this time, it's mostly my friends and family that watch the show. I think I've got like 50-something followers at this point, or something like that. I thank every one of you for your like and your follow and your share. These first few episodes are meant to be for my close friends and family. Here pretty soon, I will be starting to promote, and in all hopes that they're going to start pouring in, and we'll start climbing. I did talk to Facebook, and they're basically telling me, you know, with the right strategy, I could have about 7,000 followers in a matter of days. So I'm looking into doing that. Like, I want to make this thing big. I want to blow it out and make it just fucking viral. Again, I apologize tonight for not showing the slides and doing the slideshow presentation like I was going to do. I felt really bad about not doing it, but as I said, I'm not doing it because I don't want to offend certain people that have had bad experiences with it. All the episodes from here on out, I will be showing the slides regardless. I don't give a fuck. This one I did it as kind of an homage or a respect to one specific person that I care very much about. He knows who he is. But yeah, I hope you guys like the episode. It's going to get creepier. It's going to get darker. It's going to get eviler. It's going to be fucking fantastic. these two, like I said, these two episodes are just kind of me setting the things up and kind of playing with the camera and playing with the lights and the scenery. I may end up changing this whole fucking set. Not real happy with it. It's too fucking crowded in here. Um, and hopefully here pretty soon I can start showing you some cool shit. Um, I do have a little fucking bit I'm going to be doing later on that's not part of the episode. I'm going to show you guys how to do a tarot reading. And I want to play a little game because I'm fucking that cocky. I think that I can link to my spirit world, and I think I can do a person's reading without them knowing I'm doing a reading, and then I'll call them out at the end of the bit, and we'll see if I'm right. You know, hopefully they watch it. Hopefully they comment back and tell you all how right I am about their reading. And this isn't something. If I do this, it wouldn't be. I can assure you, I didn't contact the person and tell them I was going to do the reading. And it's not rigged, it's not staged, it's not that they came over here and told me a bunch of shit about themselves. And I'm going to try to pick somebody I don't really know all that well, just so I can do their reading, and just so I can show you guys that, you know, maybe things beyond does exist. If you guys have scary stories, if you know, and I mean, they've got to be true stories. If you guys have had encounters with ghosts, demons, Bigfoots, aliens, seen UFOs, fucking tell me about them. I want to hear about it. I want to know about it. I'm an investigator. It's what I do. And I need your guys' help, man. Send me your stories, but they've got to be real. Like, they've got to be true fucking stories, not some bullshit. Alright, so send me your stories. Let me know. Like, if you went camping in Monroe and seen a fucking Sasquatch, you got pictures, you got video, or you just want to tell the story, I want to fucking hear it. Because I'll go investigate it. I'll go see what I can find. You know, maybe I get my head ripped off by a real Sasquatch. You know, who knows? It'd be cool for live TV, right? Anyway, not that I want to die, but I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah, let's do this. And I'm full in on this. Like, I am going all in on it. Um, you know, I'm going to start putting money into it. I'm going to start trying to get this going as best as I can. So anybody out there, if you have, like, material that you can fucking donate, or, you know, time, you know, your time, your money, you know, you got gear, shit that I could use, old laptops, anything like that, I will fucking take it. I will come to your house and pick it up, because I can fucking use that shit for my paranormal investigations, especially if I'm going to be taking on trainees, and I'm going to be teaching them how to paranormal investigate, the ones that don't know how already. And recently I said in the first episode that we were working up to the Halloween episode, and I was going to do it live from Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. Now it's a little changed a little bit. That episode, I'm still doing that Waverly Hills episode, but it's not going to be on Halloween. Now it's going to be on my birthday, which is July 11th. So that's what I asked my wife for my birthday. I want to go to Waverly Hills and do a 6-hour ghost hunt with my closest, bestest friends. And